snacks.
What it do, snackers and snackettes and snackexes? It's your boy Gage. Sin is in the building.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Ready for the weekend.
Are you? You got plans for the weekend? What's
No, I mean, besides what we got going on Sunday, all right,
Ooh, we got something popping Sunday. Something popping Sunday. I'm with that. You ready to talk games?
Hey, that's what we're here for.
Does it feel like somebody's missing?
No, not at this point.
No. Okay. Par for the course. It's regular.
Pretty much.
Okay. So we're gonna talk today. You guys are now tuned into Cutscenes, and this is where we get together once a week and talk about all kinds of things that are happening in video games. I'm not gonna make you say it. I'm not gonna make you say it. It's cool. I'm not gonna make you say it. Not gonna make you say it. Appreciate those of y'all who are tuned in. Yes, bear with me. I'm feeling a little under the weather, but it's coming together. So here's what I want to do. I want to talk about Mass Effect.
Okay.
I want to talk about TimeSplitters.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Mario Golf.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Yakuza.
Interesting. Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons.
A lot of stuff coming.
And we're going to do some E3 predictions. It's a little bit of a packed show. So what I'd like to do is start with talking about Mass Effect.
Okay.
So Legendary Edition came out last week.
Mm-hmm.
It hit Friday, so it's been almost a week since it's been out. I know you've had a little bit of time with it. I know you streamed it on our Twitch channel.
Yes.
Last Friday, twitch.tv.
Loading
snacks. So where are you? What are your feelings? Have you played it since then?
Of a little bit the next day. But like we talked, like it's games coming out and I've already played and beat it. So as much as I want to go through it again, I just don't have the time to dedicate to 3 games with 2 playthroughs I plan on doing right now. But from what I played, I love it. It looks great. All the improvements they've done to it graphically and everything, the 4K and everything. Like it looks good. It sounds good. You can skip the elevator now in part 1, which is great. Like I was having a great time with it. Nostalgia and everything. Looking good, feel good.
You realize you don't have to play all 3 games right away. Like, don't have people out here thinking that if they download the Legendary Edition, that they gotta run through it like it's all one game, bro. Like you could just play Mass Effect 1. You can, as a matter of fact, you can skip 1 and just jump straight to 2, or just jump straight to 3 if you don't want to, and use a little comic book thing they have. And
you absolutely have that option. I just know me. I'm gonna want to go through the whole story in one go.
Oh, you mean like somebody else is? That's been such an issue that they haven't been able to pay attention and do the work they're supposed to be doing.
Or be on the shows, or be on the shows they're supposed to be on.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I mean. Listen, yeah, I've been playing, a little bit here and there. I mean, I'm taking my time with it. Like I really want to. I'm doing a Paragon playthrough. Which my last playthrough was a Renegade playthrough. So I'm doing a Paragon playthrough. I did a Renegade Femship playthrough. I'm doing a Paragon Femship playthrough. I did stick with running as a Vanguard. That's where I'm comfortable. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to change things up too much.
I feel you.
I stayed with a Vanguard. I appreciate those powers and abilities more, I think, than the other ones that are available to you. So I did decide to stay as a Vanguard. Maybe I'll change that at some point.
Yeah, I went right back to Sentinel for my
Yeah.
My drones, my sniper rifles, I'm good.
You got a lot of options, but I like the one that I stuck with. Yeah, I mean the game, it does look really good. I mean, obviously, you can tell that it's an old game that they have put some work into. Do you think? Hey, I'll tell you. Here's the thing for me. It's been really good to see people who just never played it, whether they never had a chance or you know what I mean. They weren't old enough or something like when the first
Mm-hmm.
game came out or something like that, or maybe people who felt like they were gonna miss out. Maybe people who didn't do it because they were PlayStation people or something, and their first Mass Effect would have been Mass Effect 2
Right.
because one was initially a hey Jazz.
What up,
Uh,
Jazz?
the Mass Effect 1 was an Xbox exclusive, so maybe they didn't, play it up front, but it's been
No, it's
really
funny. Speaking of that, when we were streaming it on Friday, one of Jokes' coworkers was watching us. He's never played it before.
right. Right.
So he was like, man, there's a lot of dialogue. Like, yeah, trust me, you have to like talk to these people. You gotta have the dialogue, showing them why. Like, see, if we didn't talk to this dude, he wouldn't have told us about this secret stash over here and this, that, and the third. Like, so it was cool.
It is. If you're not an RPG person, this won't make you an RPG person. It might though help turn you on to like Western RPGs, and you know what I mean, and in a way that it's just different. I feel like you know, Mass Effect helped a lot of people turn that corner because they're just Mass Effect,
Yeah,
legendary jazz. A lot of people, as soon as they hear RPG, they think like fantasy and
yeah,
dragon, magic, and that kind of a thing, and so um, a lot of people play games that are basically RPGs now and don't really realize it, like they're playing a Division, you know what I mean, or something like that. Like the sheer number of people, I remember when the Division first hit, man, I had so many people who were super excited about it and all, whatever. And then when they started playing, they were like, I don't like this. Like if I shoot somebody in the
yeah.
head, they should just die. Like why are their numbers popping out? I'm like, because it's an RPG.
It's RPG. Like,
Yeah,
headshots don't work like that here.
yeah, there's math. I mean, yeah, you might get a critical or do more
Right.
damage or something like that, but it's um, so and the first Mass Effect definitely still suffers in that regard because it still is like basically Knights of the Old Republic. You know what I mean? Like it's basically Knights of the Old Republic in a space.
The biggest
Uh
problem I was having with it when I was playing it was the hit detection. Just it wasn't there for me. Like the guns
you
felt good.
mean
Like
the
the sniper
original?
felt good. Part one that I was going through. Like it felt good when I was shooting the gun, but like I wasn't necessarily like feeling it when it was hitting the person I was shooting or whatever, and vice versa.
Yeah. You mean in the Legacy Edition. You don't mean when you first played it. You mean in the
Yeah, I
Legacy.
mean, yeah, yes, the legendary edition. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, look, they tried to do some things to clean up and make the first one work more like the second and third one did. The second and
hmm
third one, they really went in and updated the shooting mechanics so that they
oh yeah,
felt more like you were playing a third person shooter with RP mechanics instead of the other way around, playing an RPG that has third person shooting. So um, it definitely is a I think it's a big deal. Mass Effect's had a rough time. Do you think that this, especially seeing so many people across like Facebook and Twitter and so forth talking about how this is their first time playing it and they're like falling in love with it. And I'm like, man, this joint is old too. Like
right.
really, I'm like, wait till you get to part 2, bruh. Like, you know what I mean? Wait till you get to 3 and
Yeah,
then you really gonna see something.
especially seeing how your choices stay with you and everything. Like,
Correct.
yeah, it's gonna
Correct.
be a good time to watch
How
other
they
people talk
affect
about it.
how they affect you, how adverse some of the choices you make in the first go round. And I remember a lot of it, but I'm trying like I don't have any intentions of going back and like looking at anything to give me a heads up like, oh yeah, don't forget to do this. Or when you get
hmm
to this part in part 2, so and so gonna die, or you're not gonna have like, man, it's gonna
Right.
really just be it's gonna be that run, man. But yeah, you're right, Jazz. Part two is phenomenal, man. Doing those
Fire.
side quests to get you open up your people's abilities and all that. Like it just
Yeah.
yeah, that joint is fire.
Yeah.
Do you think this will help them get a new game? And if we get a new
Yes.
Mass Effect, because I'm pretty sure they're already doing another Mass Effect. I guess the
Yeah.
question now is, do they try to carry this forward? What do they do with it?
Don't do what they did with Andromeda. Focus more on what you did with this going
I mean,
forward.
realistically, what was wrong with Andromeda?
I couldn't. I struggled to get through it. Like I came. I played to a certain point. It just was not holding my attention. The story, the characters,
Yes.
nothing of it was holding me. And I stopped. And when I finally say, you know what, let me just go and beat it. Usually when I do that, I'll start a game over from the beginning. I literally just picked up from the save and just threw it on easy and just beeline straight to the end just to say I've completed it. But
Right.
it couldn't hold my attention. It just nothing about it was holding my attention.
See, I certainly don't feel like Ryder felt as interesting as Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the interesting thing about Mass Effect and the way that Mass Effect works is that, a lot of RPGs are exactly what RPG stands for. They are role-playing games, and you really tend to like make your character and put yourself in the role and do
Mm-hmm.
what you would do. And a lot of times people try to make the character them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jazz said she tried again from the beginning. That thing just wasn't happening. I'm gonna tell you what would have saved Andromeda would have been if their multiplayer had been anywhere near as good as Part 3's. Part 3's multiplayer was magic, bruh.
Yeah.
But
And
they go ahead.
there's rumors that they might be able to resurrect it and bring it back. So we'll
I don't,
see.
I don't believe it.
We'll see.
I guess it just depends on how well it does. You know what I mean? Like if
So,
it does well enough, if it moves enough units, that there are enough people playing it that they feel like there will be enough people for them to put that in UpResident and keep up the servers on it, they might do it. What that says to me more than anything else is that joint is moving into Game Pass. Period.
oh yes, yes.
Obviously, at some point it will anyway because it's an EA game and EA Play is part of Game Pass if you have Ultimate. And the EA's games, once they hit the EA Play roster, like they just become like you could just play them. They're part of the vault,
Yeah.
or the EA vault. So eventually this game will become part of the vault. And if I remember correctly, the vault is like based on sales and the age of the game, it's like 10 months out or something like that. Then it becomes a part of the vault.
Oh, it'll definitely be in there.
But
Definitely.
if it becomes part of the vault and it hits Game Pass, there will automatically be a boost in enough players that they might just be like, let's turn the servers off for 3 years. You know what I mean? And see what happens.
And we'll be all in it all over again.
But they'll get me. They'll get me. Yeah, I feel like Mass Effect. The thing about Mass Effect is that Shepard is an anomaly when it comes to role-playing games to me. Shepard is a character that has their own ideals and motivations and movements. Like when you play a Final Fantasy, like, all right, let's take Final Fantasy 7. You play as Cloud. Okay. You feel like you're playing as Cloud and you put yourself in. Shepard is a weird anomaly of your personal decisions and how you want the character to be and their own personal decisions. Like there are times when you don't have a choice but to make the choice that Shepard would make because Shepard is already a character that exists with a backstory and so forth. And like Cloud has that, but he's still basically he still more or less feels like he's just an avatar. Yes, there's a backstory,
right?
But like when you play it, you feel like you're just playing Cloud and like you're going through the motions of what that story is, not making decisions that affect what that story is. Mass Effect is different because the things that you do, the path that you take as Shepard does have a determination on who makes it, who doesn't make it, who shows up in what game, where you can and can't go, what you have access to. So I feel like with Andromeda, they tried to make Ryder more nameless and give you less of that same kind of, like, it didn't feel as if the decisions you were making had the same kind of impact that you felt like they were making even when you played the first Mass Effect with no idea whether or not it was actually going to do well enough for them to do a Mass Effect 2 and a Mass Effect 3, right? Like that Andromeda game, it didn't feel like, man, if I'm not careful, this is going to affect me in Andromeda 2 or whatever. Yeah. I think that's the difference. I really do. Like the game's not bad. The gameplay is not bad. The story itself isn't even really bad. I just feel like it's harder to get yourself invested in the character. Like as much as people talk about Shepard, Shepard's probably the least interesting character of everybody in Mass Effect. Like, the minute you say Garrus, the room lights up, bro. People like, that's my dude. You know what I mean? Like, people get amped over Garrus. They get amped over Tali. They get amped over Rex. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you feel a connection to these characters. You love and or you hate Ashley. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Like, it's so different, and the characters are built around them definitely has an effect on that.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, the characters in Andromeda, not even lying. Outside of Ryder, I do not remember a single
Can't
one.
remember anybody.
Not one. Dead serious.
I mean, I'm not.
All I remember was the blonde chick, just because that's the person my character slept with. But I don't remember her name or anything.
Who cares? Who cares at this point? I hope they do another one. If they were to do one and it falls in line with this universe, what do they do? I guess we don't want to spoil the actual ending. So I guess we don't want to do that. But
let's get some focus on the N7s.
Right?
When they started bringing all them dope ass characters in the multiplayer, like let's get some focus there.
All right, I'll accept that. I'm willing to take that. They need to bring Shepard back. Just bring Shepard back again.
Right.
Bring Shepard back again, huh? Just, I mean, I don't know if that's the move to bring Shepard. I understand, like, Shepard is iconic though, right? But it's funny to have a character that's iconic that, like, when they do ads or commercials and they show Shepard, whether it's male Shep or femme Shep, it's just the default Shepard. Yeah. And like everybody knows that's who it is, but nobody's Shepard looks like that. You know what I mean? So it's like the attachment that you have to Shepard. Again, like everybody's Shepard looks different and makes different decisions and does different things. And still there's an attachment to Shepard. And that's the thing I think that's the craziest and probably the most powerful thing about Mass Effect is Shepard. You know what I mean? Is that like you're just if like there are people who care about like Knights of the Old Republic that way, but they care about the game. Like they don't really talk about the character the way they talk about the game and how they're nostalgic for the game, because the game is just part of this much larger universe. The thing about Mass Effect that I think it doesn't get enough credit for is that Mass Effect is really the only huge, like major RPG and story that has like no backstory at all. Like it has nothing. It is a world completely made up. You know what I mean?
Created from the ground up.
Yeah. When you talk about like The Witcher as a game, The Witcher had books upon books upon books. Yeah. You know what I mean? That they're based in. If you talk obviously about a Star Wars or a Star Trek, like they have tons. Like Final Fantasy 1, you know what I mean? Started a thing. You know what I mean? And those characters, but there's still like a Sid in every joint. There's still Chocobos.
A Biggs and a Wedge in every joint.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like there's still like they're those things that are just like staples of it, and you still have a story that you're basically following that exists of like you got to go get the crystals and pull them all together. Like there's that same summons are the same. You have the same, you know what I mean? Like there are tropes that you just hold on. Chocobo. Yeah, Jazz. Yeah, stuff like that. But Mass Effect, completely brand new. Totally like they're those characters, the races, the planets, the tech.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The jokes when we were streaming, like just this whole world, I just love. Like from the characters to the species of aliens, like I said, the Citadel and just that whole thing, like just everything about it. I think it was done brilliantly from the ground up, and it makes it so it can grow outside of video games into movies, TV shows. Like
I mean, it has books and stuff like that, but like, yeah, definitely.
It could be basically it can be on par with Star Wars, Star Trek. It can be on par with all of those.
Yeah, no doubt. Jazz says she wants you want an FF8 remake?
I won't be mad at it. I want my 3. I want my 3 though. I want 3.
You know, 2, 4.
Yeah.
That's my joint. That's my banger.
My 3, 6. Just give me from the ground up.
Can I tell you that I'd be happy with just like a sequel, like a Final Fantasy 4. So they did do one, like they did two. They did like in two parts on the it's trapped on the Wii in the store or whatever. What's up, Perk? I don't. But listen, if you want a Final Fantasy 8 remake, you realize you can't get that for like 15 years.
It's gonna take forever to
It's gonna
get
take them
7
10
done.
to 7. Like we're not getting the second part of Final Fantasy 7. Listen, it'll be close to the end of this console cycle.
I can see it. I can see it.
Middle to the end. And depending on how much they give us, again, if all you really got was Midgar, let's be real about this.
We got we technically got the original demo into a full-fledged game.
Right, dog, because it's not even the first disc. Like what they give you a Final Fantasy remake isn't even the first disc, dog. They are going to milk.
What?
You're gonna be paying, listen, you're gonna be paying $100 for each joint. It's we're talking PlayStation 7. By the time they finish doing Final Fantasy 7 remake.
No, Perp.
Oh man.
No, Perp.
Perp.
No. Nah.
Really, Perp?
Nah, we good. We good.
Kingdom Hearts 4, bruh. All right, listen, we are doing E3 predictions, and we're gonna talk a little bit. And Square Enix is on our list for what we got to talk about today. But bro, Kingdom Hearts 3 was trash.
I never got past the beginning.
That's because it was trash.
I never got past the beginning. The intro, fire.
Hey, listen. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 7 remake was gorgeous. The remake is gorgeous. There's no two ways about it. I'm still waiting for it to hit Xbox though.
The story of what is fire? Kingdom Hearts? Perp, shut up. Explain it to me right now. What the story of Kingdom Hearts is.
Not without telling you what 2.473
right.
Injustice remake. Like I don't
follow that thing.
Oh man. Hey, listen, hey, Cuddy, I had to race every Chocobo. I needed that black Chocobo so bad, bro.
What? Vegeta?
Listen,
I needed him.
Perfection, bro. Perfection. Hey, listen. That's enough Final Fantasy. Killer said she gave me. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. Kingdom Hearts dropped, and I was like, this is it. This is gonna be the joint. This is the gateway drug. Me and my daughter gonna sit down. We're gonna play this Kingdom Hearts. We got the Disney characters in here. This is it. About to get her in the Final Fantasy. This is it. This is the joint. This is the move. No, sir. No, sir. That joint could not keep her attention at all. Not even a little bit. And like she played more of Final Fantasy X remake than she did of Kingdom Hearts. That joint was just like, nah. All right, hold on. Perp, what you talking about, man? What is this? Everything with the Master of Masters and Zigbar are the most interesting parts about Kingdom Hearts for me. You just made that up.
Made that up, yeah. Come on now.
I don't even Kingdom Hearts, bro. Listen, I understand I do actually understand the fandom and the following. There's some very cool aspects of it. The crossing of Square and Disney it's a thing. It's a thing. But execution is just not. It's just not there for me. If Kingdom Hearts, if Kingdom Hearts was a turn-based RPG, it would be fire, bro. It would be fire. It is a terrible action RPG. A lot of action RPGs are terrible at the action part of the RPG. And that's why they don't I actually tend to prefer turn-based RPGs because they don't have to worry about the actual fighting mechanics. And they tend to do a terrible job. Like all them Tales games, they can be decent as far as the action for the action RPG. They can be. But one of the greatest things about them is the fact that they're co-op. And if you try to play them co-op, you can't even see what you're doing. Like the camera just leaves you. Like they don't even let the joint like pan out so y'all can be on screen together. Like, oh my, I ain't make that up. Listen, I actually do. I get that. No, gee, you're right. Kingdom Hearts is not better than Zelda. I don't think any. Did somebody say Kingdom Hearts was better than Zelda?
Nah,
Oh, okay, I was getting ready to say, did I miss something?
nah, you ain't
No
miss nothing.
way, no way. So they announced today that a new Time Splitters is coming.
Let's go.
Really? You care?
Yes, yes.
Why do you care?
Because I enjoyed Time Splitters when it came out.
I
Part one
mean,
and part two.
do you really though?
Yeah. Well, I haven't played it in forever,
Correct.
but I have very. I'm pretty sure if I probably went back and play it now, it would probably be some
Garbage.
garbage. But at the
Garbage.
time, I had a blast playing it. Land game, all of us hooked up together, running it like good old times. Great times.
Hey Slim, I played Time Splitters. I played a lot of Time Splitters, 1 and 2. I bought it. I was on it, but I'm gonna tell you what. There is no nostalgia in Time Splitters for me at all. Like I don't. When I think about sitting down and playing a first-person shooter on console, GoldenEye is the joint. I don't care about Time Splitters at all. Matter of fact, Perfect Dark, smash Time Splitters. I think that
Perfect
joint
Dark's a
just,
classic.
yeah,
Perfect Dark's a classic.
yes, it is. What laptop gun? What?
Mm.
Name a weapon in Time Splitters for me.
Oh, I can't.
Exactly, dog.
I can't.
I don't understand. Listen, I'm trying to be real. Like I get it. Like I feel like people hear the name Time Splitters and go, oh. Now, what I will say is that exactly, Ty. Hey, Ty, Google it. Here's what I'm gonna say. I do feel like because Time Splitters was a big deal on like PlayStation 2, like on PlayStation 2.
That was the
And
first
I
time I
feel
used
like
dual analogs to play a first person shooter.
I was gonna say
Man.
for a lot of people, Time Splitters is their golden eye. Like if you didn't have an N64 or you skipped it or whatever, if you maybe went to other people's houses to play, Perfect Dark or play 007, you know what I'm saying, play GoldenEye. If you had Time Splitters, that was probably your first real like first person shooter on console. I would say, especially dual analog. But then Halo came along and showed what the truth was. Like
Classic.
people have been asking for a new Time Splitter or saying they want a new Time Splitter for decades. You know what I'm saying at this point? And they're gonna get one. And I'm gonna tell you what, they are going to be disappointed. People are not going to like this, dog. Like, if they were to take Time Splitters right now, remaster it, and put it out, I honestly feel like, what up, Doc? I honestly feel like people will be like, yeah, this joint like Splatoon's better. Like, I don't see it. Like, Time Splitters being what it is, you got this new joint, Lemnis Gate. Look up Lemnis Gate for anybody who's in the chat. Lemnis Gate is a first person shooter where like it's like 1-on-1, but the game takes place in like a 25-second time loop. So like every time the time loop restarts, you can go a different path, but the first path you went still exists. And so you actually have to, it's almost like playing chess. Like you actually have to set up, like you can go and move somewhere and set up a shield. And then when you come on another run, that shield is there to protect you so that somebody can't shoot you from a certain angle, or you can set up and shoot somebody where you think they're going to be because you know that like there's a specific place you have to get to like shut down this gate or whatever it is. That joint sounds like what Time Splitters maybe is supposed to be. I'm not. I don't. We'll see, man.
It
Like
definitely looks interesting.
right now, realistically, I could care less about Time Splitters. That's where I'm at. I'm
I'm looking
glad
forward to it
if
and
they
seeing
want it
I want to see what they're going to do with it to bring it to compete with other shooters that are out there now.
to make it relevant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to me, there's a reason why Time Splitters hasn't been relevant for literally like 20 years. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as people remember it being. Like, on facts, like, there are shooters that people have been playing since like the 90s that are still cranking, like to this day, like esports cranking to this day. Like TimeSplitters is not. It's just not.
That is true.
I don't really see it. I think that the nostalgia thing in people's heads and like what they think and what they remember of it is way better than what it actually is.
That's why I'm not gonna go. But that's why I'm planning on going back and playing it or looking at videos. I'll keep this here in my nostalgia and just wait till I see a trailer or get more information or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, factually, like years later, I went back and played Mass Effect 1. Like, I've replayed Mass Effect 1 and 2 multiple times to go back through 3. And them games held up. Like, there's a difference in... I don't think that joint holds up. But that's cool. Like, I'm glad you're hyped for it. Is hype the wrong word? Are you okay?
I'm not hyped. I'm excited. Like, oh, TimeSplitters coming back. Okay, like, I'm excited.
What's the difference between hype and excited? Just walk me through that.
If I'm hyped, I'll like really be looking for more information on the internet about it. I'm excited. So, okay, with some new news drops, I'll look at it, but I'm not going searching for stuff. Like, I'm cool. I can wait for news to drop, and I see it.
They dropped some news today, and I just gave it to you. They're doing another one.
So, hey. It is what it is.
That's the jam right there. Hey, listen. We probably gonna get in trouble for this, but let's do it anyway. They dropped the trailer for Mario Golf. I want to watch it.
You want to watch the trailer for Mario Golf?
I want to watch the trailer for Mario Golf.
Well, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Mario's friends and foes are going head-to-head in the great game of golf. With easy-to-learn controls, anyone can get a nice shot.
Nice shot.
Mario Golf Super Rush.
Chip it.
Study the wind and the terrain. Think it
Are you
through
excited yet?
and then swing.
Yes.
You are?
I've already seen the trailer. I
Thanks
want
to
it.
simple button controls, you can easily line up impressive shots fit for a pro golfer.
Excellent.
Curve shots bend the ball's trajectory so you can avoid obstacles. Spin shots add a little spin to the ball, adjusting its path after it lands. And there are plenty more techniques in your proverbial golf bag. The shot gauge lets you see how your shot will curve due to slopes. And the scan function lets you examine a course's terrain. With these techniques, you'll be strategizing like a master. Instead of button controls, you can opt for motion controls. Gently swing a Joy-Con controller like a golf club. As you swing the controller, your character will swing in the game. You'll feel like you're really golfing. Mario and his pals are geared up. From power to control, each outrageous golfer has their own surprising strengths. Up to 4 players can hit the greens. By connecting online, you can compete with friends and faraway golfers. There are a variety of courses, from lush natural scenery to fantastical areas you could only find in the world of Super Mario. Some courses are just what you'd expect. Others include strategic challenges. Expect the unexpected.
I want Mario putt-putt.
Speaking of, there's a new way to play golf. The kind of battle you could only wage in a Mario game. Speed golf. Now, it's always your turn. Each golfer tees off at once and races to their ball. Hit it again and again and try to stay ahead of the competition. Throughout the match, you'll collect items to restore stamina and overcome the obstacles standing between you and victory. Every character has a different special dash, which can be used to rocket forward while the acceleration lasts. Or you could always use it to steamroll opponents. And let's not forget these golfers' signature moves, special shots. Some knock back other balls on impact. Others clear out any balls in their path. Each golfer has something special to offer. Use that to your advantage and make your rivals eat dust. Hitting the ball is just the beginning. Better know how to dash and rock those special shots to keep up with these competitors. And in this obstacle-filled arena, an intense new golfing competition is underway. Battle Golf. It's speed golf with special rules set on a single course. Here, golfers battle to claim any of the 9 holes they can before their opponents. Be the first golfer to capture 3 flags, and victory is yours.
Hey, dog, I want real-life battle golf.
Level up your golfing skills and your
Straight up,
rookie
dog,
me
like
character
American Gladiators
while
with
engaging
golf.
with Mushroom Kingdom locals in Golf Adventure. In the practice area, there are in-game coaches for beginners to learn from as you work on technique. You're a golfer on a mission. Multiple missions, actually, and the challenges may surprise you.
Good.
Boss battles in golf? Legendary! You'll even level up by gaining experience and then allocating points to different stats, allowing you to develop your golfer however you'd like. Then, you can use your leveled up me in versus play. The Mario Golf series has leveled up. Ready, set,
I already picked my character, dog.
swing. Mario Golf Super Rush. Available
Charging
June
Chuck,
25th, only on Nintendo Switch. Pre-orders are available now on Nintendo eShop.
Charging Chuck, bruh. That's Charging Chuck is gonna be my guy, bruh.
That's your guy?
Put me out that joint on the golf course with the football helmet on and the shoulder pads ready to come get you, Slim. Charging
that's
Chuck
a bit-
would be my guy, man.
Probably
Hey,
keep
listen.
rocking with Bowser.
This joint look like it's gonna be way better than that last Mario Tennis.
Hey, I'm getting that joint day 1.
Hey,
That is
Doc,
on downloaded, ready to go.
who not getting the Switch? Who not getting the Switch? I'm not. I can't buy a Switch. You might as well go ahead and get it. If you can find one, get a Switch Lite. But then you ain't gonna have
Right out there in the charger.
you ain't gonna have 2 controllers automatically to rock with. So then you're gonna need another joint. You know what I mean? Gotta get a real Switch for that joint because you need it on. Yeah. I mean, get yourself a Switch and get your 7-year-old a Switch Lite. How about that?
There you go.
That's the move. Just buy 2. Just buy 2. You know what I mean?
That might be Friday night's game
I
on
don't
the
think that
25th.
Switch Pro is coming. I think it's gonna be a little while before that joint
This is
actually
coach.
drop. Yeah, that joint looks like it's gonna be dope, man. I got that joint set
I'm amped for that.
years to come. I don't think it touches Mario Kart, but again, I think we're getting a Mario Kart announcement at E3 anyway, so we'll see how that goes. Before we get into our E3 predictions, I want to talk about one other thing. I actually had 2 other things, but we don't need to talk about both of them. We're only gonna talk about one. You still don't have a Switch? You all right? You don't really need a Switch. It's really not necessary. Like, but if you want to play Mario Golf, you need one. That's
Kind of facts.
That's kind of what it comes down to. Did you see the announcement that Yakuza from now on is going to be a turn-based RPG?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah.
How you feel about that?
You know what? I'm good with it, considering that on the same heels they announced that they're doing Judgment 2.
Another Judgment, and
Yeah,
Judgment is taking the reins of what Yakuza
Yeah.
was.
So I was like, okay, I'm cool with that because I do like what they've done with Like a Dragon, Part 7 with the RPG elements. Like, it actually really works really well. It's done pretty smart. Like, with the type of characters you run into in the street that you got to fight and the weapons and their moves and abilities. Like, okay, y'all really put some thought into this. This is kind of cool. So I'm not mad with it going turn-based from here forward. And I still can, put my hands on people with Judgment, because Judgment is a dope spinoff like to it.
It's more stealth. Judgment.
A little. Uh,
Yakuza's?
it's more of, like I said, you're playing a detective in it, so
Right.
you do have missions where yes, you walk around, trying to follow people and yada yada yada. It's the main difference between Judgment and Yakuza is the putting the cases together. That's like the big difference. But in Yakuza, I'm used to following people around, not trying to be seen, stuff like that. So there's more of that here because it's a detective game. But
Yeah.
the biggest difference is putting your cases together and trying to do your arguments and stuff like that because you're an ex-lawyer and stuff like that. Make sure you're picking the right thing to present to somebody. Yeah, but I'm all for it.
Hey Doc, you're gonna have to listen. You have to take responsibility for that. That's on you. You got to get your man a screen protector. You can't. You got to get some a screen protector. That's why you get him a Switch Lite, and you get the Switch. Just keeping it a buck. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like you got to put that. I don't know what kind of protector you got on that tablet, but you got to take that one on the chin, and wherever you buy it, you got to buy that accidental damage protection plan. You got to go to Best Buy and you got to get the plan, cause he's 8. He gonna be 8. Like you know what I mean? Like you just
yep.
you got to take that one on the chin, and just know what you're getting into, and just decide that like yeah I'm
Got to
and
protect it.
protect it as best you can. That's
Go Amazon, find one of them thick grips you could put around it or something like that to help protect it from any and all kind of damage that might happen when it drops.
yeah that's disgusting. But yeah, that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? You gotta put that screen protector on there, or you can watch the screen while walking. Hey, listen, here's what you can do. Realistically, you get him a regular Switch, and you tell him he can't take it out of the dock, and you just make him play it on the TV like a regular console. He don't have to go nowhere with it. You do realize that the Switch is portable, but doesn't have to be. That's why it's called a Switch. It switches from one to the other, but you ain't gotta switch it. You can leave it in the dock. I don't care. You tape the joint down to the dock. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, so he can't take it out. Then you just buy a couple sets of Joy Cons and a Pro controller and call it a day.
Or just put it somewhere he can't reach it. Put it up high so you got to turn it on for him. Just give the joystick.
Oh nah, he gonna get up there. Kids, man, they figure some things out, man. He gonna get up there, man, and then we're gonna have a real spill. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be up above the TV, something's coming down, shells coming down, TV getting cracked. Like, yeah, it's like, yeah, nah, you asking for way too much trouble. That's way too much. You can't wait to play Battlefield 6. You know what, Perp? I hear what you're saying, but you haven't seen Battlefield 6 yet. So let's give them a minute to get themselves together and present something to us first. Now that has to be jokes.
I'm excited to see Battlefield 6.
There you go. There you go.
I'm excited to see it.
So here's the thing. I'm a little upset that so EA decided they're not doing EA Play until like July. So they're doing it like it's actually like a month and like another week or a month and 2 weeks after E3, which makes me feel like anything that EA has is going to be presented at E3 more than likely is going to be presented with Xbox. That's just how I feel because they got the whole thing going on with Game Pass.
Which makes sense. Yeah,
they're going to align themselves with Xbox, but we'll see how that turns out. Now, I say that because they're not likely to align themselves with Nintendo, and PlayStation is not going to be at E3 because they don't do E3. So, if they're showing anything at E3,
it'll be at Microsoft stage.
Yeah, it's gonna be at Xbox. But they did announce Square Enix, Sega, and Bandai Namco are all going to be at E3, and I want to know what you think they're going to show. Obviously, I think Square is going to show Final Fantasy 16.
Yes, I'm with you on that. I would like to see him do another Deus Ex. I think it's been a while.
Another Deus Ex?
Yep.
I can see that.
I would like to see that.
I'm with that.
I'm pretty sure Bandai Namco will give us a new Tales trailer, which I'm personally looking forward to. But I'm thinking they're going to also announce Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. think Bandai Namco is going to announce that. It's about time. Actually, it's long overdue for that. Let's see, Square. What else? What else with Square?
We
Can't
just said,
think of
yeah.
nothing else.
Everything
I mean, yeah.
Perk apparently agrees with you.
Okay.
Or at least it's hopeful. You know what
It's
I mean?
time.
That would be the case.
It's time.
You know, I don't care, but I respect that it's important to people.
I expect we'll get a full trailer for we just talked about it, Judgment 2. Hopefully with a release window.
You think they'll go global? Sega?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Judgment 2 gets a global release date. They're not gonna make you wait a year after the Japanese.
I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed and just say yes. I'm gonna go with yes on that one. Just because they seem to be having a good partnership with Microsoft and everything, and all the Yakuza and Game Pass now. Hopefully, we can get it the day that it drops in Japan. It'll come over to the US as well. So,
Square Enix, let's stay with Square. Let's stay with Square for a minute. So, Final Fantasy 16.
Yes.
Is outside of Final, like, do we get a new Tomb Raider?
I want to say no.
Okay. Is it time for a new Tomb Raider? You think the trilogy's over now and they're done with that? Like, is Tomb Raider done? Like, what happens with Tomb Raider now? Because they're doing another Tomb Raider movie. With Alicia Vikander. I am pretty sure. All right, I'll look it up. Let me see. But yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't be mad if they announced a Tomb Raider 3. I just, for some reason, think like that trilogy they just finished wrapping up was like kind of like it for now, unless they decide to do something to revisit her later, like years down the line when she's a lot older or something like that. Could be kind of cool.
So they did announce Tomb Raider 2 with Alicia Vikander.
Okay.
It was apparently supposed to release this year, but it got delayed indefinitely, so they don't know when it's releasing. But there is supposed to be one, and it is supposed to release at some point. They just don't know when.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I knew I wasn't completely out of my mind. You mean the game itself was bad, Doc? Put all the characters in the game. Oh, in Dragon Ball? Who?
I mean, well, Xenoverse kind of does that because you're messing with the timeline of Z. So they're kind of all in there.
They wouldn't do, would you? I mean, is Xenoverse more likely to happen than a Fighters 2?
Yeah, I think so.
Because
Fighters are still cranking heavy on they're still dropping characters for it. It's still on the tournament scenes and everything. I feel like they can hold off on that a little bit longer. It's been a while since Xenoverse, so it's way past time to drop a Xenoverse.
Got it. Oh, Doc says the Vikander movie. Well, that joint made a lot of money, so they make it another one. That's how that goes. Hey, listen, jokes. Hey, jokes. Get in the show or get
I'm
out.
with you, Perp. I'm with you, Perp. The fact that you can make your own character from scratch, pick if they're Earther and a Saiyan and a Mechian or whatever, and just build up your character's legend and run through it. Dope.
I mean, again, that's cool. I can see Bandai doing it. All right, do we get it? What new Musou game are we getting? We getting Samurai Warriors 12?
Of course. Of course.
I just pulled up.
I see they just announced Yasuke is coming to like the last Samurai Warrior as a DLC character.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Like, interesting.
Yeah,
he has like gloves.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Like, how do you wear a sword? He's supposed to be a samurai. Whatever.
Do we get? I would like to see a new. Hold on, didn't Square announce a new Octopath? Isn't there an Octopath Traveler 2 coming?
Made by the same people, but it's not the same name. But like when you look at it, you're like, that's
Oh yeah, that's
Octopath
right.
Traveler.
That's right. That's right. But I feel like we'll get an Octopath Traveler 2. You're right. There was another one, but it also was like something it's like Project something.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like the first one was Project Octopath Traveler or whatever.
I hope we get more information of whatever that game they were showing with the girl running fast, it was like a Devil May Cry-ish, but Final Fantasy mix. She was running, leaping over things or whatever.
That's the PlayStation. That's the PlayStation exclusive joint. That they're doing in Unreal. They used it to show off Unreal 5.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing about that. Again, they could show that, but again, that's a PlayStation specific thing. I feel like they may hold off and not show that unless Unreal specifically is doing something and Square and Unreal have some kind of thing tied together to do that. But because it's a PlayStation exclusive and PlayStation isn't gonna be there, I have a feeling that won't be there, especially if they're showing Final Fantasy 16, because as of right now, that joint is also an exclusive for PlayStation. So I feel like they'll show it. And there'll be some information there, which is one of the things I feel like Sony is doing. Like, I think Sony is aligning themselves with other partners to have exclusive titles so that those titles will get shown at E3, even though PlayStation doesn't have to be there. Right. And they don't have to spend the money to be there, because one of the things that's weird about E3 this year is that even though it's all digital, like, to participate, like, people are still paying, like, companies are still paying this ridiculous amount of money or whatever to do so. Perp, I think the likelihood of a new Def Jam game getting announced is slim to none. Mostly because I think what people want more than anything else is a remake. Def Jam Icon was a very interesting concept.
Like the way you put that.
Like, the music is cool, the look of it is cool, but the fighting engine, the mechanics of it actually are even cool in terms of the concept and, like, being able to fight to the music and being able to, like, scratch and, like, stuff like that. But the actual fighting engine part of it wasn't up to snuff. And without Ukes doing it, like, if they do another Def Jam fighter and it doesn't feel like Fight for New York, that joint is an automatic fail.
It's not, yeah. So don't even
automatic fail. And right now, so Ukes pulled out of 2K wrestling, which is why that joint was garbage this past year, so that they could do a separate game, which apparently is the game they're doing for AEW. So now we might see that at E3 in some very early form. I think
I'm excited for it already, just knowing that they're doing it. A wrestling joke, like, I don't even watch wrestling no more, but I will buy it and I will get busy.
Here's the thing. As much as we talk about Def Jam and how much we want another Def Jam, we're going to pause a minute with the E3 talk. We're talking about Def Jam, man. Okay. The thing about Def Jam that I think a lot of people fail to realize makes it so good is how incredible the story mode is. Def Jam Fight for New York story mode is Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11 levels of story mode, bruh. Yeah. When you talk about Xenoverse, you talking about creating a character and building Slim from scratch and adding in different fighting styles to make them your own, and then adding in the finishers and changing their clothes and their hair and their style. Slim, I had a Baki the Grappler in that joint.
You did?
We went on that joint. And the story of, like,
we had us in that joint,
trying to 100% that joint, so fire. Like, bruh, there are rappers I hate to this day because of the story in that joint, dog. That joint made you feel some kind of way, bruh. Like, there is, like, and it felt like it mattered. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Def Jam Icon joint didn't feel like the story mattered. Like I feel like again, as interesting of a concept as that game was, what you waiting for, jokes?
Yeah.
As interesting, here you go, of a story as that joint was. If I know, as a concept as that was, if the story had been anywhere near as good as Def Jam Fight for New York, Def Jam Icon, I think people would love that joint.
It might have stuck around longer.
Yeah, like building a character from scratch, starting out, like just that whole thing, bro. Like they built that, and so they have to get that team. Like they have to have. Like, you got to remember that the team that actually greenlit doing Def Jam Fight for New York is the team that did NBA Street, bruh. That's who did that. They don't exist. Like, they exist, but they're not together. They definitely not at EA. You know what I mean? And, like, the kind of work it takes to get the licenses for those people and the licenses for that music and all of that kind of stuff is ridiculous. Now, how dope could it be if, as like new people literally signed to Def Jam, they could get put in and added to the game, and new music could be added and updated like radio stations and Grand Theft? Like, is there potential for it? Yes.
You made me one of these Jones to start putting all these little rappers I be wanting to just body in there.
Slam! Can you hear me?
I would have a field day.
I mean, there are some very iconic folks. There's iconic people in that joint that don't have nothing to do with Def. Like Snoop Dogg is the main. He Def Row Slim. Like he wasn't Def Jam.
Omar Epps.
Omar Epps, dog. Why was Omar Epps in that joint, bro?
You used to love whooping Slim.
I used to beat the. Listen, and it ain't because I have anything against Omar Epps. It's because why is Omar Epps in a Def Jam game about rapping? Like, why is that a thing?
Hey,
why don't you go there smoke, but not the Danny Trejo?
He knew the right person. I was like, hey, let me in on that game.
Let me tell you something about Danny Trejo, bro. Because that's my man, though. Like,
hey, what that smoke with Danny Trejo?
That's my man, dog. You better leave Machete alone, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that joint had, dog. That joint was ahead of its time. The story in that joint is so clean. It's so clean. You can't
that joint one night on one of our Twitch streams.
I'm down.
Run the story one night.
You already know we can't. Like, you can't just do a Def Jam game and treat it like, oh, let's take the people who did WWE, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, like WrestleMania 2000, and just put them on a wrestling game and treat it like, let's just bring Def Jam people to the ring. No, sir. I have to be able to grab your head and slam that joint into a wall and break that wall when I do it. Slam, like, I got, like, we got, like, that joint lets you put in work, bro. That joint still feels so good to play. It still feels so good to play. It's ridiculous. And so much of that is based on the story. Because even when I go back and play it now, if I grab my 100% character or whatever, and I'm just doing a battle, and my man worked his way up. He earned that joint. You know what I'm saying? Put my fresh bling on. And then it's just like the way they talk trash at the end of it. You just got owned bit like dog. Like they stole that joint, dog. Everybody had joints like at the end of the you will be Bone Crusher, dog. Who thinking about Bone Crusher, dog? Hey, dog, you will be destroyed. Damn, stop playing with me, dog. Like them joint. Hey, dog, David Banner. I'm from the crooked letter. Dog, listen, that joint goes so hard, bro. And the way they talk trash, dog, like I hated Fat Joe.
Joey Crack.
Hated Fat Joe. Hate Elephant Man. Hate Sean Paul.
All day, body him.
Just straight up. Hate Ludacris. Just all of them. Can't just ready to wreck. Just and I honestly don't feel like there's anybody that iconic that they could put in a game now anymore either.
That's true.
They would have to have Bieber.
Make him the villain.
You can't do that joint without having "We the Best" music playing in that joint. Like you have to, like, that's so much work. It's so much work, man. Things are so different now. You
It'd be
just
great if they could pull it off. But yeah.
my faith is gone. My faith is shaken in that joint. All I want, here's the thing. I'd be willing to accept a remaster.
That's what I was about to say.
I don't need a remake because the joint is fire. The controls are fire. I'd be willing to accept a remaster, right? Somebody go out there and get the rights to that music. You know what I'm saying?
I'm down.
Find these jailed and dead rappers, make them sign a paper, bruh, and just give them a little something and put that thing out, bruh.
And just add online to it as well, so we can all play
old music. Yeah, like old music, but then like give me like fresh and like I can have a new soundtrack somewhere in there. Like you know what I'm saying? Don't put no new people in it, but you could give me a little bit of new music. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Treat that joint like old school. Like that joint needs the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 treatment, and that's the only reason why I feel like there's a possibility we could get a remaster of that joint is because of that. Now I saw Def Jam like 2 months ago tweeted.
Yes, they did.
Wanted it, but they.
So let me ask this: Do they make the announcement at E3?
No, they don't.
No, they don't, because they were trying to do it. Like Def Jam was posting all these random things at one point, like the joint was coming and everything. I remember because I shared it. I was like, "Oh, it looks like we finally made some traction here," and it just died. Like that whole talk just died.
It can't happen. It can't happen. It's not gonna happen. Are we getting a new Sonic game at E3? Is Sega gonna give us a new Sonic game?
I think so. I think it's time.
It's time for a new 3D Sonic, right? Am I tripping? Like,
I think it's time.
I think with the success of the movies and everything, it's
get it right out before the new movie gets ready to come out. You announce it
Sonic
now.
3.
Probably
do they make him look like he looks in the movie?
They make Sonic like Sonic and leave it at that.
I'm just saying,
don't get too crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but in the movie, I mean, they redid him, so they like.
Yeah, as long as he looks like that, he's fine.
Okay.
Don't go to what you tried to do. Leave him looking like Sonic.
Hey Slim, I didn't have no problem with the original way he looked. I don't know why people was.
I don't know. That was
disgusting.
I think Sonic would look disgusting in real life. So I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna give me a real life Sonic, that's, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's, yeah. What else does Sega have, man? All right, look. Talk to me. Are we getting a Jet Set radio, a new Jet Set radio?
Maybe a spiritual successor type of thing.
There's already a spiritual successor. I guess we're getting a new Jet Set radio. Like, are we getting a fresh set radio?
It'd be
Are
nice.
we playing those games? Is that impossible now? Are games like Jet Set Radio, Space Channel 5, Dance Dance Revolution, are we too far past those?
I think they would be made for like your diehard fans out there. So maybe it would be like the remastered treatment. I don't know. I don't know if they go the whole remake of anything, but just like kind of like how Guitar Hero fell off. Like after they did the last one, like the idea for me, Guitar Hero, it was made to be like a fun type of thing, but then it was like let's try to get a little more realistic and make you actually press on the frets and stuff. I was kind of like, no, I don't really want that.
I mean,
I'm here to have fun, not learn how to actually play the guitar.
Otherwise, I just pick up a real guitar. Actually, I'd pick up Rocksmith if I wanted to. I'd pick up Rocksmith.
That's why I feel like they did it. I think because of Rocksmith is why they did it. I think they was just chasing it. All right. So, what about Shenmue 4?
No. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw it, but I don't see it.
You would not be surprised if you saw a Shenmue 4?
I know the creator wants to,
continue it.
Yeah, he wants to continue it or whatever, but I don't see it happening. Last one didn't get like the most positive reviews and everything, so people might not be willing to gamble on it.
Well, it didn't get positive reviews because they tried to keep it like a game from the 90s, from like the early 90s. Like it just didn't have, the tropes were just too old. You know what I mean? And like the gameplay was too old. If they I mean, the game is basically exists. It's Yakuza. Am I?
No, you're not off. Yeah, and we have Yakuza and Judgment, so don't necessarily need.
So they
Say
could
you.
do it, but they just have to make it like that and just continue the story of those characters to be. You know what I mean? Like they could make them old, like if they wanted to carry it to like how old they be now or something like that. But that's super wishful. I think. You know what I'd like to see? I want a new Golden Axe. Listen. The treatment that they gave to Streets of Rage when they did 4. I think a game like Golden Axe, like I think there's a space for side-scrolling beat 'em ups, like again, like what we saw at River City Girls. I think there's a space for side-scrolling beat 'em ups if they do them the right way, for that to be accepted and taken well, and for them to be 2D side-scrolling, 3D plane beat 'em ups instead of trying to do like an actual like Fighting Force 3D, which I actually wouldn't mind. Like I'm actually up for somebody attempting to do an actual 3D beat 'em up. Like I might be down with that as long as they do it right, as long as it's online. It was that one thing I was trying to play, man. I can't remember what it was called. Brawler. It was something Brawler, something like that. See, they got that new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game coming, and I can't, bruh. That joint looks terrible. People are excited. I think that joint looks bad. I think the characters look smushed down and at a weird angle, and maybe it's fun to play, but I need more than that now. Like, if you're gonna do something like that, you have to you gotta take that joint to like River City Girls levels of like, let me upgrade and get new moves and get new abilities and new stuff like that, and let it be different for every one of the 4 characters and all that kind of stuff. But if you just give me the same, like I'm just swinging and kicking and I can throw them towards the screen and that's it, dog. I played that joint. I'm good.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? And I guarantee you're not gonna make this story compelling enough for me to care because it's like another arcade joint. The old arcade game is available, G. Like you can get that joint. That's easy. You know what I mean? Like you can look that joint up and find it. You can grab it. It's not too bad. Now, Jeff Lyles, good to see you. As always, the Storm Collectibles figures of Golden Axe open up the windows for it. Agreed. Let's go. Let's go. I think Golden Axe could be so dope if they do it the right way. They now. What I want, Sam, what's that 3-player Guardians joint, side-scrolling joint from the Saturn?
Oh,
Guardian Heroes.
Yeah, Guardian Heroes.
Excellent. If they get it, listen, let Daemu get their hands on Guardian Heroes, bruh.
That's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Most has no idea.
I don't.
Oh
he
my
has
god.
no idea. Hey Slim,
Dog.
I'm finna put you on, bro. Didn't they re-release that joint for
Yes,
as
they
Xbox
did.
Live?
Yes, they did. Hey, dog, that like little battle joint or whatever will slow your system down so fast.
No, that joint was bug, bro. Because it was like 6 players, dog, on the Saturn. Like 6 players on that joint, dog. Like, hey, dog, that joint is crack, bro. God, that joint is crack.
And we definitely ran it since it came out.
We definitely have.
Yeah.
That joint sounds like a Friday night Twitch. For sure.
So many characters unlocked. Ooh.
God, dog, Guardian Heroes, bro. Hey, the soundtrack in Guardian Heroes is phenomenal, bro. Phenomenal. The TMNT, I'm pretty sure, was re-released as an Xbox Live Arcade game. It's probably just available as like a downloadable title now. I'll look into it, see what I can find, and I'll shoot you the info. But that joint definitely, the first joint and Turtles in Time, both of them joints came out a number of years ago. Anything else we think we'll see from Square?
I want to see a new bouncer, but I doubt we'll ever get that. I I'd love to see Toe Ball come back.
No, you don't.
Is that we get that? Yes.
But I'm gonna tell you what. I am so ready for a new Virtual Fighter.
Oh, that's been
Dog.
out of the landscape. I don't know how long now.
I'm so ready for a new Virtual Fighter. Like they put some of the Virtual Fighter characters in Dead or Alive,
Mm-hmm.
and it was clean, but like nah, dog. Like let me get like Virtual Fighter. Man, look at this point. I take a fight in Vipers, bro.
Hey, look, if you need to scratch the itch, all you gotta do is go boot up one of them Yakuza games. Go right in the arcade. You can play the full. You can play the full last joint.
I got them. You know what I'm saying? Like I can play them. The Xbox backwards compatible. I own them. But come on, man. I want a new joint. I want at least 2 new characters. I want some fresh outfits. And I want like Virtual Fighter 3 levels of like landscape, like high ground, low ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, Square, give me an air guys. What's
I was
up?
thinking about that. It's time for some air guys.
Dog, I take an air guys and an Einhander. Dog, like what?
All these Final Fantasy characters you got now since that thing came out, man, let's go.
Can I get a Bushido blade, bruh?
Don't do that.
He's reaching.
Look, Bushido Blade was a monster.
Dog, that joint was the most incredible joint.
That thing was a
That joint was the most incredible PlayStation 1 joint. Hey, Slim. Bushido Blade. God, that joint was so dope, dog. One hitters.
Straight up versus. All this landscape.
Dog, just running past each other, chopping down the bamboo trees, though.
Yep.
Ooh. The Jokes has no idea, dog.
Didn't play it. Nope.
No idea, dog.
Nope.
All them old joints, man. Like Square has a lineup of like there's a lot of games that I don't think people realize like that they have ownership to or whatever. But like there's old Brave Fence and Musashi. Like they got games sitting, just sitting, collecting.
They have a rich history and a rich catalog to pull from. They really do.
They do.
They got a lot. They got a lot of gems.
Yeah, they do.
That they can just dust off. You know what I'm saying? Put the tweaks on them for 2021 and go.
Let's talk Capcom. Is it time for Street Fighter 6?
Yes.
When did 5 come out?
Forever ago.
5 or 6 years ago. 5 is old, bro. That was.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, they be teasing Street because like
PlayStation 4 and PC, right? That was early PS4 and PC.
Yeah.
How many versions of it have they released since then?
Oh, good God.
I mean, they did like the arcade joint. I mean, they've added to it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Characters and outfits and all that kind of stuff. But
hey, and they've been teasing Street Fighter, like especially like they have their whole collaboration with Power Rangers right now. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe this is getting them back into the light, and then they end up launching, the new game for it.
Though, if they put Power Rangers in Street Fighter, I will boycott that game.
No, you will not. No, you will not.
No, I will.
No, you will not.
Other people do the same thing.
You're gonna go out there with a sign and pick it in front of Capcom?
No, that's going too far. I didn't say I was gonna pick it. I said I was gonna boycott. It's not the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm just not. I'm done.
That's fine. I'll buy my copy and your copy, so it doesn't make a difference.
I mean, I know you will. I'm not. What do you expect me to do with it, though?
He's only going to choose the Power Rangers.
Excuse me. I'm going to gift you your copy. Let me rephrase that. I'm going to digitally gift you your copy.
See, here's the thing. He still has to download and install it.
Like, I don't know what he's just trying to basically negate the fact that
technically I can actually download it on his box because I'm actually logged in on the box, so I could actually send the joint there.
Yeah, but you logged in on my old box, not on my new joint.
Oh, you're right.
I don't even turn it. I mean, I do turn it on to watch.
They're not gonna put Pokemon in Street Fighter. That's not gonna happen.
They don't.
Yeah, leave that for Smash Brothers.
That's if they did anything, somehow there would be like crossover with like Tekken, like they did the Pokken tournament thing. Somehow I guess they would figure that on that side, but no.
Hey dog, is that the dumbest thing they ever did with Pokemon?
That was actually kind of interesting. Like at one point, you couldn't even buy a copy of Pokken. Like you had to digitally download that junk.
I'm not asking you if it was good. I'm asking you if that's the dumbest thing they ever did with
I don't
Pokemon.
think it was the dumbest. No, I don't think so. I liked it for the fact of it gave you Pokemon battles in a different light outside of just the normal pick a command, go out there and do what not ever. So it was kind of interesting to kind of be able to really fight as your Pokemon and do things with them versus just fire a flamethrower and go. Like, I don't know. I like it
It
because
was certainly the most left field thing they've done with Pokemon.
oh, facts.
Yeah, Jeff, I know about the
Sure
Power
did.
Rangers Justice League crossover comic, and it would not surprise me if somehow Power Rangers ended up in a new Injustice game. If they did another Injustice game, I do want to know: are we going to see this rumored Marvel fighting game that NetherRealm is supposedly working on?
We at least get a teaser.
That's what I think.
Do
Don't-
we?
If they
All right.
tease that,
I'm
Alright,
gonna go with we at least get a teaser.
Hold on, that's cool. Where do we see it?
who stage?
NetherRealm don't have. I mean, it's not like they're doing a conference.
It would be
They're
Microsoft.
Warner Brothers. They are WB.
It would be Microsoft stage. I think that's the biggest one that you're going to have out there to do it on. Honestly,
It's mostly the only one. I mean, in turn,
Yeah.
true.
I mean,
They can. Nah, I don't think.
PS5. But again, Sony's not going to be at
E3.
E3. So with Sony not being at E3, I mean, you could if they did a deal with NetherRealm, and NetherRealm has like if they did a marketing deal with them, then they could show it, but they'd have to show it somewhere. Which means if they did a marketing deal with them, it can't show up on Microsoft stage. Hey, listen, you need to buy an Xbox for an Xbox. You should get that joint for Game Pass, bruh, and stop thinking about it.
There you
You
go.
should get that joint for Game Pass, bruh. Like that's the move.
If that keeps on giving.
Who knows? That could be a surprise Game Pass
I
entry.
mean, look, I wouldn't imagine that just because it shows up on Microsoft stage at E3 that it
wouldn't be another
also
PlayStation.
Oh, yeah,
on
no.
PlayStation.
Nah, not
It
at all.
definitely would still be. NetherRealm and Warner Brothers, I don't think are in a position where they're going to. I mean, unless Microsoft offered them Microsoft money to make the joint exclusive.
You see these
What
Game
I could
Pass
see
numbers?
happening, I could see them doing a deal and that joint ended up on Game Pass day one. And if you want it on PlayStation 5, you dropping that $70. I could see that. But outside of that, I don't see it. He's still going through his old PS4 games, and that's cool. Enjoy them while you can. They saying that the shortage for PS5s is supposed to last through like 2023.
22. So, oh damn, they went up one.
In the beginning of 2023. If they can't get this new this new chipset squared away,
It's fine right now for me because I mean, I ain't nothing worth just jumping on to have the PS5 right now for. So
I mean,
I want Ratchet and Clank, but I can't get it.
I wouldn't buy a PlayStation 5 for Ratchet
and Clank, yeah, that's sin. That's. I know you love him. I know you've played him since the first one. So
yeah, but I still don't think I don't have that being a system seller even for Sin. Like Sin would buy a PS5 for buying a PS5 before he would buy a PS5 for Ratchet and Clank. Like if he had a PS5 and he had the disposable income and they did a Ratchet and Clank PS5, he wouldn't be like, I gotta have it. I don't believe it. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like Ratchet and Clank, I don't personally feel like Ratchet and Clank has that kind of pull. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nowhere near that big. Which is why as long as that game has been an exclusive and as big of a deal, quote unquote, as it is as a PlayStation title, they've never done a PlayStation Ratchet and Clank. There's never been like a system that's a Ratchet. God of War, sure. You know what I'm saying? That's how big that joint is. Like Ratchet and Clank in terms of like sales and what it's expected to do doesn't even come close to that. So it's not like Ratchet and Clank's not a system seller. There are people who have systems who will buy it for sure, but I don't think that joint is a system seller. I think that it is at this point being used and marketed as a
show off the power of the PlayStation 5.
To show what the system can do. You know what I mean? To show off the controller and show off how fast the SSD is. But I don't. Again, it's not and it's so early that like you wouldn't get, but like even if we were 2 years in, you know what I mean? It was, and we were in a place where they could do, you know what I mean? Like they were doing special edition consoles. They wouldn't do a Ratchet and Clank joint. Well, hold on. Let me hold on. I take that back. There is a high possibility that even though all the Ratchet and Clank games have always been PlayStation exclusive, that the only reason why they have never done an actual special edition one is because until now, Insomniac was not a PlayStation-owned studio.
Good point.
There is a high possibility that that's the only reason why. However, they did do a Spider-Man one. And when they did Spider-Man, Insomniac was not a PlayStation-owned studio. However, Sony does own the rights to Spider-Man. So that could be where that anomaly is. Like, maybe that's the reason why. Like, I just don't... I would be willing to wager that if we go look up Ratchet and Clank sales right now, that it doesn't meet... It's not Last of Us. It's not
nowhere close.
God of War. It's not Uncharted. It's not like for as long as it's been around, and again for as much nostalgia and so forth as it holds. Like I don't think it has that kind of cachet. But I do think that in terms of where we are right now, and as far as the system is concerned, that like I think right now that joint stands to sell more copies than it would under other circumstances. One, because of the smaller number of people who own PlayStation 5s, and two, because it's supposed to show off what the system does. And generally, you know, I mean, again, think Breath of the Wild when the Switch first came out and what its attach rate was like. Like, it was literally more than 100%. More than 100% of Switches had Breath of the Wild.
Buying their friends' copies.
Right. Like, people were buying the physical and buying the digital. That was a thing that people were doing. They were buying both. And that's why the attach rate was so high. But if you look in the grand scheme of things, like now, like people who bought Switches in 2020, the attach rate is high for like Animal Crossing, but like it's not like people are going back and buying Breath of the Wild.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Breath of the Wild sales will spike again if they show Breath of the Wild at E3. Like they'll spike again for sure. But you know, especially because it appears to actually be a continuation of the last game, which is not a typical thing for Zelda games. It's not typically how they do it. Oh
yeah.
Right. There you go, Jeff. Ratchet and Clank 3.1 million, Last of Us 20 million. Like it's not even
that compare.
Yeah. It's not. Again, I get it. I understand why people love it, but it's one of the reasons why mascot platformers isn't really a thing anymore. Like there's nostalgia for Crash Bandicoot, and so he came back and they sold, you know, whatever. The last Ratchet and Clank game for a lot of people, I think, was better than the Ratchet and Clank movie, but for all intents and purposes, like people say that the Ratchet and Clank movie was actually pretty good. But it's not up there in terms of like pulling in people. Like that joint's not selling. That joint, I mean, I'm not saying there's nobody who will buy a system and buy Ratchet, but that's not why they're getting. I don't think there's anybody who is buying a PlayStation 5 so that they can play Ratchet and Clank. I think there are people who have a PlayStation 5 and will play Ratchet and Clank.
I get it.
I don't think there's anybody who's like, oh my God, Ratchet and Clank, I got to get a PS5 right now. Like there's nobody who's doing that. Like that's not a thing. I don't believe it. However, if they were to announce that you could get like replaceable side plates for the PlayStation 5 that have Ratchet and Clank on it, hotcakes. Hotcakes.
People need those plates at this point if they announce, because at this point everyone wants something other than the stupid white console. So
I already told you, the moment I get my hands on my PlayStation 5,
Jones getting painted.
I'm sending that joint straight to Jose. Straight to Jose. PlayStation 5 and a pair of Vans, dog. Holla at me, bro. let's get it popping. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I'm at. Yeah, I mean, look, I think we got some pretty good predictions for Square Enix. I think we got some pretty good predictions for Sega, or at least some pretty good wants. You know what I mean? Like what you might want to see from Sega. Bandai Namco, man, I feel like they're so again, you can probably count. You know, you're going to see some anime games. I just want to know which one. Like, what is there going to be a One Piece game?
I feel like it. I feel like it's time. What it is, I don't know, but yeah, we'll get something.
What are we? Pirate Warriors 5 we would be at this point?
Yeah,
now?
maybe Pirate Warriors 5.
I wouldn't want a Pirate Warriors because I believe the last one is in the Wano arc. It ends like in the Wano arc already, and with that still going on, it doesn't make sense to do a part 5 to me. Just create something new, like they did with Burning. Was it Burning Blood or the last
World
overworld
Seeker?
one? Yeah,
World
something like
Seeker.
that. Yeah, something more in the veins of World Seeker. I see some overworldish. I think that's the vein to go with them.
I dig
Some
it.
overworld.
Yeah, again, I think you're right. We'll see a Tales. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Tales collection.
Be a good time.
Maybe an HD or something, or remaster of like
Yeah.
Symphonia or something like that.
Yeah.
One of the early ones.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Because the new one drops in September.
Yeah, there's got to be a Dynasty Warriors on the helm, and
Just depending on which version they want to do. Like, I'm fiending for Dynasty Warriors Gundam again. Like, maybe that's how they switch it up and throw it in the realm of something like that. Like, we've been getting the same type of Dynasty Warriors. Like the last Dynasty Warriors Gundam game was 360 and PS3. So
yeah,
obviously we've just passed the 30-year mark. So I mean, it would be a good thing maybe to cap on. Hey, here's a extra thing, because I mean the movie was coming next month, but 2 months out, but they delayed the movie, so
right.
No telling when that's gonna come out now. But maybe they do a twist and do something like that. If it's not Gundam, maybe it's a Dynasty Warriors with something else attached to it, not just the basic Dynasty Warriors
They
game.
need to do a Dynasty Warriors Transformers.
Give Optimus that gigantic axe and just start chopping down.
I think it's either Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors. One of the two of them is due.
Mhm.
I can see them
And
doing a versus Dynasty Warriors versus Samurai Warriors. I think they've done those before.
that's possible.
Yeah.
That's possible. I mean, I think there will be some other Muso game that is tied to a Nintendo franchise. I just don't know what franchise it will be, but they've done the Zelda joints.
Mhm.
They did maybe they'll do like Golden Sun or something. I don't know.
Didn't they just do Persona Strikers? I know it's not Nintendo,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, Persona, yeah, Strikers.
hmm
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that but still, again, that seems to be like a running thing, and the fact that Nintendo has been more open to allowing other dev teams to do things that are different with their IPs, and that has been working. You know what I'm saying? Again, like Switch is out there, the platform is there. I would love to see it. Of what's coming, there's I do think from Square we do see. I think this E3 does not get past us without them announcing Final Fantasy VII Remake for Xbox.
Okay.
And probably on Game Pass, and probably with the new DLC.
I'm with that.
Because I think the DLC also has a timed exclusivity tied
I
to
believe
it.
it does. Yeah.
So it wouldn't be that right away. But I'm pretty sure that joint is going to hit, and it's probably going to come straight to Game Pass. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think we get past E3 without hearing something. I think it's been we're past the 1 year mark for sure.
Yep, that was April,
and we knew it was only supposed to be a year. So the fact that we haven't heard anything and nothing's been said, but that Square has been so tightly tied to Xbox, and they've been putting Final Fantasy games on there and so forth, especially considering that Final Fantasy 16 is tied specifically to PlayStation and appears to be either an all-out exclusive or at least a timed exclusive for PlayStation. That to me says that there is probably something else in the works that is happening because they have put all these other Final Fantasy games into Game Pass. It tells me that something else is coming. They just dropped X and X2 in Game Pass remastered like this week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's time, and I'm pretty sure that joint is coming, and I think it's going to be Game Pass for sure. So it would surprise me to no end, but I think all three of these companies, I think Square Enix, Sega, and Bandai Namco will all have announcements of games that are coming day one in the Game Pass.
Definitely.
I think all of them will. There's just no two ways about it. Now, Are any of them getting purchased? Is Microsoft gonna, like, again, we're not talking Microsoft yet. We're gonna talk Microsoft next week. But is there a possibility that any one of these companies is getting scooped?
Possibility. I
There's a
think
lot of talk about Sega getting scooped.
Yeah.
I think Sega getting scooped by somebody, especially if it's a Microsoft, would definitely be a good play. Because I mean, at this point, I mean, granted, Sega puts their stuff on all the consoles at this point, but if you line yourself, like obviously Sega ain't going to do no console again. So why not partner with probably the best console on the market and just start dropping, especially dropping all them Johnson Game Pass if they get a hold of them.
Hey Slim, not even joking. I tweeted today that I
Man,
want
tweeted.
a Lost Odyssey remaster,
Dog, that
Mm.
which is not Square. It's Mistwalker.
It deserves it. That was a great RPG.
how many discs was that game? Like I'll
3 or 4.
It was either three or four.
I feel like it was 4.
It was 3
I'll
or
never
4.
forget. Popped that thing open. Like one of the discs fell out when I first got it, and then I was just like, "Yeah."
Thought you broke it. Okay. Hey, listen, we're gonna wrap up. Those are our E3 predictions, part 2. Last week we did Nintendo. This week we done Square Enix, Sega, and Bandai Namco. Next week we're gonna talk Xbox, Microsoft. What our expectations are, what we're thinking is gonna happen with them. How that goes. Yeah, we're gonna tie this one in a nice, neat little bow. Joe, since you showed up, you got a job to do. I'm gonna let you take care of that. I'm glad you updated the link tree. Tomorrow, you guys are playing Overwatch on Twitch tomorrow night, right?
Overwatch it is.
Yep.
Okay, so running Overwatch on Twitch tomorrow night, 8:30. So y'all make sure you tune in for that. Jump in for a little while, say hi and so forth. Make sure you're following us there. If you're not already on our Twitch, again, if you hit the link tree, you find links to everywhere that we are. So TikTok, which I've been told we need to post more, and that's true. We do. We should post more TikToks. So our TikTok, our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter, it's all there. But most importantly, our Patreon. Patreon is the thing that helps us pay the bills and keep doing things like this. So if you notice, things are getting a little fancy. Things are moving in the background, and
Upgrade.
trying to make some things happen here. But we want to continue to keep bringing you content. We are planning new content. We got a movie that, listen, Jeff Lyles is so cool to hear because we are planning to do, we are doing a movie of the month. We're doing a movie club, a Loading Science movie club. We're going to have a list of movies. We're going to do a vote. We're going to pick a movie, and every month we're going to let that we're going to tell everybody what it is. We're going to try to keep it this stuff that is specifically on a streaming service so that people have easy access to it. Man, we put a large list together the other night. We're going to have to whittle that down and put some stuff out to get some votes and stuff like that. But, you know, at least once a month, we want to put something out at the beginning of the month and say, this is our movie for the month, and give everybody a chance to watch it. And then we'll come back at the end of the month and we'll do a live chat, just like we do a live show here, where we'll discuss the movie in depth. And we're going to kind of talk, again, really, really deep characters, storyline, cinematography, soundtrack, audio, music, like all of that kind of stuff. We really want to dig into all of the important pieces of what makes that particular movie, that film, what it is, whether we like it or not, whether you like the film or you don't like the film. And we want to kind of stretch out some of our genres. So I feel like the list we have right now is a little too samey. But we're gonna kind of try to push the envelope, and we want to have animated stuff and anime stuff and action stuff and comedy stuff and, you know, all of that. So you all keep your eyes open for that. We greatly appreciate it. Sin, you got a job to do, if you would.
Yes, let's go and shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dorch, and Tyrone Carson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you again. Greatly appreciate it. Listen, we'll be back next week with a new show on Tuesday. So we'll see y'all then. For myself, Gage, for Sin, and for Tardy Jokes, Little jokes. We're out. Fools and lose.